We pivot now to our weekly visit with one Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, who joins us every week. And his appearance on One Bills Live is presented by Caesars Sportsbook, an official mobile sports betting partner of the Buffalo Bills. Dan, glad to have you with us. And I guess the first thing to ask you, good sir, is what did you make of the fourth quarter of this game? Because it was redonkulous.
Yeah, it was. So I've said this before. I have to get up on Mondays, call it 4 o'clock in the morning to go in and do TV all day and get into New York City. So score went to 40-25, and I ended up being like, and I'm on my way getting to bed anyway, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. It doesn't seem like Buffalo can stop Baltimore. Baltimore scoring at will. Like this feels like no matter how many points the Bills score, I know what the end result is going to be. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to rewatch Sunday Night Football anyway, every week to try to get ready for Monday morning. And so when my alarm went off at 3:55, one of the first things I do is, kind of just go to ESPN, the app, put on the scores. I looked at the score and I was like, there's no way. And then I looked down at the messages on my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many messages from a bunch of people that I work with. And so like I ran downstairs, like I was so excited to watch the tape and being like, how did this happen? And so, when you cut it back, you're like, oh my goodness. Obviously, the perfect storm has to happen, which it did, and then you have to take advantage of it. But it was remarkable to watch. I thought the offensive line block when everybody knows it's a pass, and they still couldn't get to Josh. It was remarkable to watch Josh. It was as good as I've ever seen him thread the line and walk the line of throwing on time, because the concept or the coverage determines or says I got throw on time, and then cutting it loose or making a play or a second reaction because something's not there and whatnot. And so the receivers stepping forward that we've talked about, the Josh Palmers and the Keon Coleman's, was absolute big time. And shout out to Ed Oliver. So it was fun football to watch back. I know that.
Yeah, and it's always about two team. You can say, well, the Bills came back, it was awesome. It's about both teams. Baltimore now, and of course we're recency biased. Now Baltimore is they're a choke team. They can't win. They've lost more double-digit leads in the fourth quarter than any team in the last 10 years or whatever. What do you think is in there? Is there something in it? It starts to look like something systemic is in that. They pull it in too quick. They turn it off too quick. They can't turn it back on when they need to turn it back on. Yes, it was about both teams, both about the Bills and the Ravens in both directions, right?
Yeah. I don't know, Steve, if there's something. I will say this, when you just continue to gather information, a couple of things that are a little bit stand out in that regard is, they're 1-5 against the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs since 2022. The Ravens are. They're like -8 in turnover differential in those games. Every game has been decided by 7 or less. So it is a little bit jarring that a team and a roster and organization that can be that successful and that good against those two other teams, at least in the last 3+ years, have really struggled. And it's not they're getting blown out. It's just a struggle. I think the other thing is, going an attachment to Sunday night is, in the last 3 years, no team has gone for it on fourth down less than the Baltimore Ravens. Now, a part of that is because they win a lot of games and fourth down doesn't come up as much as it does other teams. But over the course of 3 seasons, when you've got Lamar and Derek and in an era where everybody goes for it on fourth down more, it is surprising that team is the team that has gone for it the least amount of time. So I don't know. I've heard their own players talk about it in relation to the playoffs, and they, to a man, say, like, we just have to be ourselves and stop trying to be someone or something else, in the playoffs. But I don't know why this is happening from a football perspective. My answer could be, it's the second year of a new defensive coordinator. They certainly were trying to figure out who they were at the beginning of last season. And so are they a blitz team? Are they a zone team? Are they a man team? So I think that was a little bit of it. I'd also say, and I got a lot of love for some of those guys. And, Kyle Van Noy is a guy that I played with early on in his career, and I got a lot of love for him. He's a very, very good player. I don't know if they have a closer at pass rush. They don't have a Chris Jones in their pass rush. And so maybe that's attached to some of those comebacks when teams have to become pass centric. So it's something that I'm sure that they themselves are searching for the answer.
Let me flip that around, because the series that Baltimore runs after the failed 2-point conversion to Coleman, so it's 40-38, Ravens with the ball, they're up 2, but they have to know they have to close out the game. And I understand the end around to Flowers, because the Bills have the defense all packed in, trying to stop Derrick Henry, who they had not stopped the entire game with the exception of the forced fumble. And so he's trying to get a speed guy outside. I understand Monken's thinking there in calling that play, but somebody help me understand Flowers' execution of that. I realize he does not want to get forced out of bounds, and he's a little guy that's hard to hold his ground, so he's worried about getting too far outside and getting moved out of bounds and stopping the clock, so he gives himself up, but he doesn't gain a single yard, and now it's 3rd and 9. You're putting 3rd and 9 on Lamar, and that's putting your team in a tough spot there when they've got to move the sticks. Like, help me understand the play-by-play there on that last possession, because in my estimation, it just flat out was not good enough.
Yeah. I think
Dan froze up. His internet froze up on us.
Yeah, it did. All right,
we'll come back.
We'll check. We'll reconnect with him in a second here, because as we know, when we discussed this on yesterday's show, that last series to me was very puzzling.
Yeah.
In the way, maybe not in the way it was called, but certainly in the way it was executed.
There we go.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Dan.
So I'll answer it. So this is a little bit of football perspective, treetop, and then probably a little bit of macro, because I don't know exactly what's getting said to him. But if I'm the coach in that situation, you're just coming off of the fumble in the previous moment.
Right.
You're telling Zay two things are: we have to stay in bounds, and you have to protect the football. You have to cross cover. If anything, get down. And so I do think that there's something probably to Zay just being risk averse and cautious in the moment, rather than maybe if it's 4th and 1 and you're down and you got to go get the yard, that burst to go and try to find and lunge to find a way to get another yard or two. And so, like, you sit there and go, both perspectives of, he's, to your point, smaller. He's doing the right thing, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you credit the defense for the way they played it as well.
But I got to believe, Dan, somewhere in that messaging too is a field goal beats us. Like, we got to move the ball too. Like, I understand you want to stay in bounds, run clock, and all of that, but a field goal beats you, and they got Josh over there, who's been killing us in the fourth quarter. Like, you got to move the ball. It felt like there was some kind of lack of urgency or a lack of properly attaching priority to getting yards. Like, they almost prioritized running clock more than they did getting yards. They had to get yards.
I think teams fall into that trap all the time, though. I mean, you could even watch it from a defensive perspective. I mean, in that fourth quarter, I got so many clips of Josh, fourth quarter, 11:35, 7-1-6, 5-0-4, 3-0, just cutting up softer zone and just rip. That's not really the DNA of their defense as well. And so that's a Baltimore thing. That's a football thing, is like, so many teams change their identity or their values or their beliefs for situational football. And I think they get lost in the situation instead of maintaining who they are from a scheme perspective.
Yeah, there's so much in this game about the game was so close. We've talked about the ripple effects of if the Bills, and think about it, if the Bills get a 2-point conversion that they failed at, this game may go the other way, because then Baltimore comes out trying to push their foot on the gas. Bills haven't stopped them all night. It could be just the reverse of what we just saw. Bills make a great comeback to tie it, but the Ravens know if they're going to win it, they've got to win it. instead of just
100%.
trying not to lose. The ripple effects of a failed play on Buffalo led to their victory because it kept Baltimore from putting their foot on the gas again. It really is an amazing ending to this game.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like Greeny said yesterday, get up. Game of the year in week 1. It's going to be hard to, watch in top both quarterbacks playing the way that they did, the obvious memory or the moments of the fumble and then the catch and the 4th and 2 play by Josh and Keon Coleman. It's also a remarkable job by the offensive line not going downfield on that play because it would have been a penalty because it's actually a design screen. The 3rd and 6 screen to Cook, when they bring all out pressure and they slip him off from the left to right. There were just so many big moments in that fourth quarter, just plays that stand out alone by themselves that lead to that very end result. And obviously Matt Prater, I played with Prater his rookie year. So to watch Matt Prater still be making game-winning field goals is wild.
Yeah. Last thing quickly before we let you go, Dan, because Josh made a point of this in the offseason, because as we know, he picks an area of his game and focuses on it to improve it to a level that's more acceptable to him. What he wanted to improve on was better pre-snap diagnoses and answers. I think he feels as though he still isn't measuring up to Mahomes, who I would argue, through last year was probably the best situational executor among the quarterbacks in the league. I still think he had Josh beat in that area, and I think Josh recognized it too. He focused on it all off season. We saw the nuanced pre-snap diagnoses, execution, decision-making before the play even started from him in that fourth quarter on Sunday night. Has he reached Pat Mahomes' level of situational awareness, pre-snap diagnosis, execution?
Yeah, I think so. I think you saw that, to your point, Chris, play itself out. Obviously, that final drive is pretty exceptional with the ball to Palmer and then the ball to Keon on that all-out pressure. And so, it's the learning moment of the final play of their season last year on the road against Kansas City. And it's a huge opportunity for him to grow at. And so I think that he's also aware. He knows how good the team is. He knows what this team is set up to be. He knows, to get past if the top 3 seeds in the conference, I would be surprised wouldn't be one of the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, and maybe the Broncos or somebody up there. Obviously, you're going to get some unique defenses from those when it comes to it, when the money's on the line. And so it's not a physical thing for him anymore. It's that evolution of, being a step ahead of as they try to get the step ahead. And so it's an outrageous statement to sit there and go, he could get better and you expect him to play better. But if week 1's any indication, man, he's primed. He's primed. He's a great player, man.
Dan, thanks, man. It's great seeing you again. We'll see you next week.
You too, guys.